So One Piece chapter 1083 has officially been released and it's time to talk about it. I mean, evil Shanks theorists out there are eating good because of this chapter and there are so many reveals and we need to talk about it in this video. But before we begin, I want you guys to subscribe to my channel and get me to at least 450 subscribers by the end of this month. Come on, help a guy out. So yes, let's get right into the recap and then I will talk about the breakdown stuff after the recap. So let's begin. In the first ever page, Sabo reports his 3 different missions that he actually did, and that is, declaring war on the government, rescuing Kuma, and the third one being, stopping food supplies from entering Marijoa. And this actually looks like military tactics, and this actually proves that Dragon is a really smart man, and it isn't always about the fighting in the wars. Dragon and Ivanko and Sabo are in the same room, and Dragon actually talks about the revolutions that's happening in the 8 countries. That 8 different countries are now revolutioning against the own government, and one of those countries were actually Lilisha Kingdom, which was actually destroyed. But the 7 other countries are also cutting off food supply from going into Marajua. That means that their plans are working and the kingdoms are rising in numbers. Also, another cool panel where Ivankov just shouts hee haw. I just wanted to mention it because it's been a really long time since she said or he said hee haw. The most interesting panel is the one below where Dragon is thinking that he has to start moving because the Holy Knights have started to make a move on everything and they are the biggest opponents, and the shadow eerily resembles Shanks. Also, Sabot really doesn't care that much about Cobra's death because that just gave them more support. If their death actually means something for the revolution, he doesn't really care. And the newspaper really shows Sabo just standing over the body of King Cobra. That's really weird that his name is King Cobra. But they ask him what happened in Marijoa that day. So the flashback starts coming out and we see the agents are actually attacking the Revolutionary Army members, and Karasu is also one of them. He's using his crows, and we also have his devil fruit power revealed. His devil fruit power is actually the suit fruit, which kind of makes sense, but they are also freeing as many slaves as they can from Marijo Island and directing them towards the end where they can actually rescue them. Also, this is when Karasu comes face to face with an admiral, and that too Fujitora, who just blinded himself. And also another member of the Revolutionary Army named Morley, who is like a literal giant, is fighting against Green Bull, who is using his forest fruit powers, I guess. And Ryukyogoku is not at all happy with this and he is trying to fight him. Fujitora then starts using his own power to bring down a meteorite, which just angers Green Bull because he has to protect the Celestial Dragons, and Fujitora doesn't really care about the Celestial Dragons. This is also where we see, the CP9 agents in their full glory. Now they are all CP0 agents, but they're all here, the ones that were in Water 7 when, the Straw Hats actually bashed them up. And then we see many things happening at the same page. Sabo is behind Saint Charlos, who is holding Kuma. Yes, of course he does want to save Kuma, but Charlos is now going to capture Shirahoshi again. He hasn't given up on that dream, as we see Shirahoshi. And then we also see Jewelry Bonnie running behind, which is really cool to think that Bonnie was all a part of this revelry. Also, Princess Vivi is just walking around, and Law Brucci is actually, following her around. He says that he just wants to protect her, and that's his job. But Vivi doesn't trust him even a bit. And we also see, Cobra actually going into the Gorosi's room, and he asks Chaka and Pell to take care of Princess Vivi, and he says it's not going to take a while. This kind of foreshadowed his own death. First, let us talk about the Holy Knights because that's one of the most important things that this chapter has to offer, especially that silhouette where we see a Shanks-like silhouette. There has been a theory that Shanks is evil and Shanks is 2 different people, and so much has happened out there, and I know that, but still I believe that this isn't Shanks, at all. Although my favorite parts of theories that come from this is that that is actually Shanks' twin brother. I know it's insane, but I really like that. But others think it's really lazy writing. And I can't blame them. Twins as a plot device isn't really a great idea, but it is kind of interesting if Oda does that. I mean, that could be the person who went into the grocery room talking about a certain pirate, and that must be about Shanks. That would have been really cool because we didn't even see the scar or his cut off arm, that is the left arm, or no one actually called him Shanks. So these Holy Knights could be the final villains of the Straw Hats, and just imagine the entirety of Straw Hats in 1v1 matchups against these overly insanely strong people and still winning. I mean, imagine Usopp's fight, imagine Nami's fight. They are actually winning against Holy Knights, just showing how strong they have become down the road. The next thing that we need to talk about is Monkey D. Dragon's smart moves. I know he's the biggest criminal in the world, but still, no one actually acknowledges him for that in the story. I mean, what actually made him that most dangerous? So, in this chapter, I guess, we get to know that because he cut off the food supply for Mariju Island, because he's a tactician, he just thinks more than Garp or Luffy. And somehow, it makes Dragon not look like he has the same DNA as them both. But the Revolutionary Army is actually the real life revolutionists kind of thing. So it kind of makes sense for them because Marijo Island doesn't really look like they actually grow their own food. So cutting off their food supply will actually make them starve to death. That's actually a really smart move. Also, Fujitora in this chapter was literally causing a meteorite fall on Celestial Dragons because that's how much he hates Celestial Dragons. It looks like he did see a really bad thing and cut off his eye, right? So that must probably be actually, that celestial dragons were the ones that made him, cut his own eyes or blind himself. Because that's how evil they were and he couldn't handle it. But even though he was a marine, he just stuck to his own rules and he tried to be a marine. So I guess he is going to use his strength and he was literally trying to kill as many celestial dragons as he can with those revolutionists, I guess. He doesn't really care about them as we can actually see that's happening. He's actually a believer of justice and Luffy might be his favorite pirate of all time. Also, it's really insane to think that Bonnie was a part of all this, and she was going to, save Kuma. So there must have been something that happened there that made, Kuma go with the Revolutionary Army and Bonnie is now on Egghead Island. So it's a really great mystery that we will get to know really soon on Egghead Island. Speaking of Egghead Island, when are we going back to Egghead Island? Because this arc is literally called the Egghead Island and it's been like 2 months since we actually saw the Straw Hats in Egghead Island. I mean, I am not going to complain about whatever we're getting now. It's amazing, but I seriously want to get back to the Straw Hats. Everything is reaching to its end game, but it would be really sad if none of it actually connected with the Straw Hats. I know it will definitely connect to Straw Hats because, they are the protagonists of the show. Still, I really want to get back to the Straw Hats. The last thing that we want to talk about is Lucci being with Princess Vivi. So Lucci is actually on this Egghead Island and he's actually kind of teaming up with, Luffy. But based on what Sabo was talking about with the, Dragon and Ivankov, I don't think he was the one who saved Princess Vivi or Wapol. I think it was Rob Lucci. Now, I know this is an insane theory and this might not be true at all. Like, there's a 0% chance that this might be true, but I think this might give kind of like a redemption arc for Lucci and he might end up becoming a Straw Hat. I know that doesn't sound likely at all, but we've seen Oda pull different stunts and making different people become Straw Hats. Like take Nico Robin for example, no one actually thought that she would actually become a Straw Hat until she did. I know it's granted that Lucci used to kill people and that's what angers Luffy more, so he won't actually be part of the crew. I'm not saying that he will be a part of the crew, I'm saying there might be a chance and I would be okay with whatever possibility happens. He might be in the crew or he might not be in the crew, I don't really care, but it would be awesome if we get more members of the Straw Hats, whoever it is. Except Bartolomeo, I don't really think he has to be a Straw Hat. Or Karibo, I don't really want him to be a Straw Hat too. So yes, that's what for today guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. And yes, subscribe to my channel. Please get me to at least 500 subscribers by the end of this month. I'm posting daily content in the form of shorts. Just look at the number of my videos, please. So yes, I'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, sayonara guys, Chan out.